time of day. Okay, so here is the Duke Energy meter. On the Duke Energy meter, all the solar net meters operate about the same way, but the way they display the numbers are different from OUC, Seco Energy, and FPL. But basically, there's two sets of numbers that we're looking for. How much energy am I buying? How much energy am I selling? Okay, so on the meter for OUC, it goes through, it has multiple different screens. A lot of the screens don't mean anything currently to us. There's some functionality to the meter. These are smart meters that Duke's putting in, but they're not connected and set up yet. So there's like a not sync and not registered. So at some point they will initiate the smart meters and they'll all become registered. But on the Duke Energy meter, the first screen we're looking at has a 00 to the left. That screen has the number of kilowatt hours that this meter shows that I've purchased over the life of the system. 01 screen is the amount of energy that I've sold over the life of the system. Duke Energy will come and read the meter once a month, and they'll read those two numbers, and on the bill they'll say, okay, what was it last month? And they take the number this month, the number last month, they subtract it, and that's what you have as far as energy that you're billed for, or the energy that you have as credit. And what happens is that on that bill, they'll take, this is how much energy you purchased minus how much energy you sold, and you pay the net.
So that means the energy that you produce and you use it will not show anywhere.
Correct. So the energy that you're consuming, that kilowatt hour you consume in the house, does not show on the meter, because this is only showing energy going in and out of the house.
Okay.
And if it goes from the solar meter straight into the house, you don't see it on here. Where you're going to see that really is going to be on the Solar Edge app. So what happens, at the end of the day, you look and say, oh, I generated 30 kilowatt hours. Well, the Solar Edge app doesn't really tell you where that energy went, whether it went in your house or out of your house. But if your house consumed 30 that day, basically some went in, some went out, but you're at a net 0 for that day. Okay. Other feature that's on the meters, although they are a digital meter, you can still tell the direction of the energy. Is the energy coming from Duke Energy to my house, or am I exporting energy? And you can tell it based on, there's an arrow. Okay, so currently this meter has the left arrow on. Left arrow means it's going backwards, meaning I'm selling energy. I'm exporting energy to Duke.
That means 9:20 and you're selling energy.
Right now at 9:20, I am selling energy. There is, if the right arrow is on, that means I'm buying energy. Do you remember the old style meter that had the little wheel? Well, the old style wheel that had the wheel, there was a little black bar at one spot, and you could tell 1 revolution. And the faster that meter goes to the right, meaning I'm buying energy, the faster it's going, the more energy I'm buying. Well, this doesn't have the little wheel, but it has these squares. These little squares that are here represent the wheel, okay? So every time the left square comes on, that equals 1 revolution of the old style meter. So the faster those squares are populating, are moving on and off, is the faster that the wheel is going. Normally when the arrow is to the right, the squares are populating to the right. Since now the meter is going to the left, the squares are populating to the left, okay? And what'll happen is, right now we're making 3,500 watts. If my AC kicks on, or I have my oven on or something like that, and my house needs, say, 5,000 watts, boom, it gets to 3,500 from the solar. I have the utility that feeds in the 1,500. I get it once I turn off the appliances, and my wattage now goes down to 2,000. If my solar's still doing 3,500, 2,000 for my solar is going in my house. 1,500 watts is going back to the power company. And all day long, it's going basically in and out through here. You'll see the meter, you know, going backwards. You'll see it stop. You'll see it going forward. But there's no switching. The reason there's no switching, solar, utility, solar, is because what happens, the inverter is so smart. It's putting out utility grade voltage, phasing, and frequency. So it's monitoring the utility and mimicking the utility. So in this panel where I have my utility connection and my solar connection, basically they're both exactly the same. What happens with the solar inverter though, to get the solar to be used first, is they increase the voltage by a very small, a fraction of a percentage of a volt higher, and voltage is pressure. So by the solar having a higher voltage and having a higher pressure, when you flip on your light switch or your house needs energy, basically the voltage, the pressure goes down, and the higher pressure point, the solar feeds in to fill that void first. And then once your house is completely filled and there's no more need for energy in your house, the grid is basically just a constant suction of energy, of needing energy. So they're constantly just sucking energy back into the grid. So it takes every bit of excess energy that you have throughout the day. We've seen some of the people, some of the power companies, guys, and I've thought about making a label. They'll actually put a little arrows with the 0-1. This is buy, and the 0-1 is the sell.
Maybe we can do a sticker for that.
I have thought about it. It's been on my list to do for a long time, but have not. Sell solar.